Welcome back, guys. This is A1 Wired, and this is my guest slash prominent guest, who's going to be here pretty much my co-host, Rashid. So today's going to talk about the Lakers squad, and we referenced that in the previous video with a Pacific player, Dennis Schroeder, possibly going to the Celtics, already agreed upon before this video is released. So I have no idea. So he decided to get he denied first. Originally, he denied the contract. They gave him 85 million, right? Then he just later on accepted over like a $5 million, $6 million to the Celtics for a 1 year contract. So he phoned the bag. Besides that, they're able to replace him with Westbrook, and I feel like Westbrook is not a better fit, but overall their offseason is not too bad. You can look at the current roster team depth right here. They got Westbrook and possibly another point guard. I have nobody listed so far. Possibly Malik Monk, a shooting guard. Chris Nunn can also play point guard as well. Tyler Horton Tucker, Wesley Matthews, Will Ellington. And for the small forward, they got LeBron, Trevor Ariza, Kent Bazemore, Jared Dudley. I don't know how he's still in the league. Anthony Davis, Carmelo Anthony, and Davion Cook. I can't even say his name. Dwight Howard for center, and Marcus Gasol. So tell me, what's your thoughts on the roster and how they're able to acquire all these players in the offseason?
I mean, GM LeBron did it again. What can we say? He got a lot of players. For me, what really sticks out is the young players, right? Everybody's talking about Melo, Westbrook, but for me, it's the Malik Monks, the Kendrick Nuns, right? Those are the guys that really get you through the regular season. And for me, I feel like those are the type of guys that will impact this team's winning. But for me, one guy that really gets a bad stick is Westbrook. Like, there's this narrative that he doesn't win, not a winner, but like I just looked this up right before this video, and the man has won 60.1% of his games throughout his career. So this notion that Westbrook can't win is false, man. We got to stop that. And then also just look who he's playing with. He's LeBron James, makes every player that he's ever played with better. So I feel like in terms of Westbrook, they're going to make it fit. They still have AD, and now they got shooters in Carmelo Anthony and people that are motivated to win a championship. That's what LeBron does, right? He gets players motivated. That's how the best of these players come out. It's because they know they're going to be there July when July comes, playing for a championship. So I'm looking forward to see what this team does.
Honestly, for me, when it comes to this roster and their offseason moves so far, I think it's the best they can do. They really can't go out and get anybody beyond the players they already agree on. None of the players signed any heavy contracts whatsoever. Like, they couldn't retain anybody beyond who they already have. They didn't re-sign Alex Caruso earlier. He went to the Chicago Bulls. I feel like he was a good, important piece of their team, but they're able to replace it with Chris Nunn and Malik Monk as well. They kept one of their better players, like not really their best player, but like a potential feature piece. Tyler Horton Tucker. So it's not too bad. And they got a bunch of older players, honestly. It feels like this team either is going to do very, very well or crash and burn for real. It's really, end of the day, they just got really complimentary pieces around LeBron James. He's been doing this since Miami. He never really, it feels like every single summer, even last summer when they got Dennis, you feel me? And they got who else? Harold. And they thought, oh my God, they got even better. And they got Marcus Gasol, and people thought they got an even better squad. On paper, they do, but keep in mind, some of the players are really washed up or past their prime.
I mean, I really wouldn't say that. It was other factors, right? So like injuries is what really got them. So like if they weren't injured, you could say that they have a chance of winning the championship this year. Okay, yeah, some players didn't show up. A lot of the players that didn't show up that, have star level names, but not star level talent, like Kuzma, they're out of there. I guess him and Shooter had drama. So like all those things affect your season. Now that that's gone and it's a more mature team, I feel like there's less drama. I feel like older players tend to know their roles better. So I feel like it's going to be more smooth. And then with the chance to win a championship, that's really what gets people on the same, mental playing field.
Yeah, like you just said, like honestly, for me, I believe this team, if it's really up to LeBron. If LeBron is LeBron still, then yes. If LeBron then LeBron is over. If like you can add however many good mid-level contracts, how many players take the minimum deal, it doesn't matter. It feels like Golden State Warriors when they got all these pieces and Klay Thompson's not there, it doesn't really matter. You still need good quality players. Carmelo is the only player I think that's decent out of all the players they acquired. And Dwight Howard is
Not
really
Westbrook.
Westbrook. It feels like Westbrook can either bite you in the butt. It can backfire. Like Westbrook is one of the players that can backfire. Camelo's not going to backfire. He played for Portland for 2 years and he really played a role. He really developed himself and changed. Westbrook has not changed his playing style since he left OKC's. The same player. He didn't work out. He got traded every single year. If he doesn't work out this year, he's probably going to get traded again. That's the type of player
Yeah.
he is. So he get traded literally 3 times in the past 3 years. That's not like a star player should be treated like, especially.
But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, though. Don't you think something like that is a humbling experience? And not only that, it's like, look at the caliber of player, right? So, like, when did he have the most success, right? Playing with KD at times, but all the mistakes that he made, you could put it to being young, careless, but he's matured, bro. He's been through a lot, played with a lot of different players, played a different role. His game has really evolved since those days, right? The last time he played with a really elite player was back in was it the Kevin Durant era? So he did play with James Harden 2 years ago, but I don't know that experience. I just don't think those players really fit well with each other. But I feel like LeBron James tends to know how to use people, right? So like Kyrie, look at Kyrie now versus how he used Kyrie. Look at Dwayne Wade, like just knowing, okay, this part of the game you're gonna dominate, you're gonna have your touches, and then I know when to reel back. And in terms of that, he's a good leader. So like I think all those things play a role.
Honestly, it feels like whatever Westbrook comes out, it's really up to Westbrook. If honestly, like keep in mind they did add a lot of shooters this summer. Like I said, like a lot of good shooters. A lot of them are really good. Like Kent Bazemore is a really good shooter. They got Malik Monk is a pretty good shooter, and they got Wayne Ellington is a decent shooter as well. Um, I feel like shooting wise, before they got him, before in the draft, during the draft night, they acquired him for pretty much fodder. A bunch of players that didn't do show up. So it feels like honestly they switched out a bunch of useless players for a player that's potential to be very useful. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah.
very useful, and he has to play through the system. And I feel like the coach they have is not really good. But LeBron James is a coach. You've seen that through the Cavs and not the Heat. I feel like that's the last time he had a good Heat like coach under Spoelstra. That's the last good coach he had. Besides that, I'll probably say that the previous one would probably be Ty Lue, but Ty Lue's like a player's coach, and it feels like
Yeah.
LeBron James is at a point where the Lakers, like, this is his last chance, probably his last good year. If he does not get through the semifinals or in the finals and he meets the Nets, they're going to lose. I feel like no matter what, if the Nets are very healthy and Kyrie gets situated and stops having these meltdowns, not showing up, they're going to probably win, because that's probably the only team that can possibly see them lose to, because the Suns, they're not going to lose to the Suns in the West. The Denver Nuggets are pretty good, but they're really random. The Clippers, there's no Kawhi this year, so there's no really point even talking about them this year. Kawhi might come back towards the end of the playoffs or the beginning of it, but for we've seen from his track record, he's probably not going to show up at all until next year. So, what would you rate their moves so far? All their player requirements, like a grade level, like
I'd
1 through 10.
say 1 through 10 or grade level.
Whatever you want to do. I think 1 through 10 is better.
I'll probably say 9.5. They could probably get another shooter or two. But other than that, at first it was troublesome, right? Getting 3 players that can't shoot be your 3 stars, and then 2 of them that do very similar things in LeBron and Westbrook. But then now surrounding them with shooters and building out the bench, I feel like that's very important. I feel like the others really win you the championships, and having them carry you throughout the regular season games you don't want to play, right? That stint from November to March where it's just kind of groggy, everybody's done and tired of it. And also that last stretch of the season. So I feel like they did a good job of filling out the team. They still got some work to do, but as of right now, like what they went from, laughing stock. LeBron his prime is gone. He's washed. AD can't stay healthy. And now, if they stay healthy, they're right back to title contenders, right? So
That's the question. If they stay healthy, that's the thing I noticed amongst every single team. Last year was really injury-stricken year, and honestly, if he faced the Bucks in the finals, they probably would have won. But at the same time, I really can't rule out because you always can never put doubt on the current title holders, So I gave the benefit of doubt. It's probably going to be a Game 7 series as well, and go
I
to
mean,
the
you can't
final
put
wire.
doubt on the title holders, right? I
Yeah.
love Giannis. You feel me? I'm happy that he won a championship, but people forget with just Kyrie, James Harden injured, the Nets was whooping these boys. It wasn't even close until Kyrie went out, and then it still went to Game 7, like a centimeter. Like KD just had one half a foot larger than it needed to be. Could have won. So like that whole term that you can't question it is kind of messed up. Like it takes a lot of luck, and being healthy, all those things come into play. I'm happy that it worked out for him. But we can't forget that they was getting whooped, bro.
Yeah, but I don't know. I rate their summer so far. And that remark we're talking about the Giannis, it feels like they have to if they add one more additional role player, I think they're pretty good. I just gotta look at pretty much Philly and the Nets are only two teams that can really challenge them. So, and that's about it. The Hawks, I don't know. They're probably a year or two away for being consistent challengers to actually be like finals contenders, but they're a really good team as well as
The East is a mess, bro. I'm be honest, bro. It's literally musical chairs out there every season, right? Like Boston had their turn, right? Philly had their turn. Toronto had their turn. Now Brooklyn is going to be the number one team, and everybody else is, if they get lucky, right, or they stay healthy, and something happens to the Nets. As of right now, it's like the East. As long as the Nets stay somewhat healthy, at least have two of their three players. They just have too much offense for the rest of the East. They're gonna make it out, and then the West is actually more interesting, more competitive, but still it comes back to all the competitive teams are too young, right? The Jazz too young. They're not there yet. Denver, they're missing a couple of role players, and again, too young. And then what really wins the West is the experience, right? The LeBron James, the Kawhi Leonards, those players, if they're healthy, right? Like even this year, was it Chris Paul's experience alone got them through that, injury riddled team. Even though I would arguably say that Denver was the better team, that they could have beat them, but the Suns made it out. So like the West is experience and health. The East is like, Brooklyn, or something catastrophic happens, and then probably Milwaukee, Philly if they could trade Ben Simmons, maybe Miami because they're always in the mix for some reason. It's weird, not really, but they have a chance. Yeah, the East is just funny. But New York, don't bring them up. I don't want to hear nothing about them. The Hawks, I don't want to hear nothing about them. Like again, bro, there's always those teams that have a season or two and then go back to mediocrity the next season. I feel like the Knicks and the Hawks are going back there next year.
Yeah, it's besides that, the East is a mess. So I feel like LeBron James this offseason, that's no matter who comes out the East, they pretty much have it like sealed. If they go to the finals, it's a guaranteed ring unless something bad happens. So I'll give their rating this offseason a 10 out of 10 because this is all they can do. Literally, yeah. The offseason moves. If I include the draft when they traded for Westbrook, I'll literally give him a 7 out of 10 just because I don't think he fits very well. He just has to prove me wrong. And honestly, I feel like Westbrook does prove people wrong.
But do people forget what he did last season, right? He took a very bad
They already
Wizards
started
team
off
to the
bad.
playoff. They started
They
off bad. They traded for him right halfway through the season, and
no, the
then
beginning of the season they traded for him.
okay, the
They
injuries. I didn't really watch their games, but bro, he was literally willing that team to wins towards the end of the season, got them into a play-in, got them to the playoffs, and then they were just outmatched because the team was just bad. But in terms of like putting Westbrook, like just throwing all these L's on the man, like again, you want to hold Houston against them. That team was destined for failure, bro. They went small ball. What was it? They had freaking what's bro's name? Playing center. Just won a chip, bro. Bro with the
PJ
shoes.
Tucker.
PJ Tucker. They had him playing center against AD, bro. Like, what do people think was gonna happen?
That's
And
not the
then,
problem.
yeah,
That's not the problem with Westbrook. The reason why after the Houston series, I literally counted them out because they thought that they replaced them, Chris Paul, with a better player. That's the thing. They really thought they replaced him for a better player. I thought so too. I'm like, Westbrook is a bona
I
fide
didn't, bro.
superstar.
I thought it was a bad idea,
Let me
bro.
finish.
Just
Let me finish.
go
Let me
ahead.
explain. I'm a big Houston fan as well as a Cavs. So I watched the Houston game. I watched that game 7 series against the Golden State where they lost it through Chris Paul's hamstring. So I really thought Westbrook was gonna come and really make. You saw the hype videos from Bleacher Report, Twitter, and them two playing that game. I feel like they really had a. They're instead of like Chris Paul and James Harden's like controversy of them not really fitting well together and them having problems versus you switch him out for Westbrook, a very known former teammate of him, but they still didn't work out. I feel like it's a problem either with Westbrook or James Harden. I don't know exactly who, but it feels like now after going through those two, like the scenario with
Again, bro, that's not fair. Because again, you're not painting the whole picture, right? Like people want to mention Westbrook came, right? But they don't want to mention Capella left. They don't want to mention was it Trevor Ariza left. There's a lot of pieces, important pieces to that team that went to the game 7, right? It's not just simply a swap of Chris Paul and Westbrook and be like, oh, look how bad Westbrook did. Oh, it's all Westbrook. Come on, man.
it's
Like
not Westbrook. I'm just saying like he did make him worse. It doesn't matter how you work. He was supposed to be a significant upgrade. That's not a never,
but
or
he
at
played
least
well in the playoffs, though. He literally played well in the playoffs. If you
it
look at
doesn't
his
matter.
numbers,
It doesn't matter. That
because
was
they didn't win, because they lost
they
to the Lakers,
they
because they didn't
lost.
have a big man. So it's on Westbrook.
They
I see
lost in
some
a
bias here, bro.
no,
What's
no,
what,
no.
what's your issue with
I
Westbrook?
don't Westbrook. I feel like the reason why I said that because they had a possibility against Buddy Hill. That's what rumors say. It feels like if they turn that down for Westbrook, then I'll give them a 5 out of 10, straight
Okay.
up. Because Buddy Hill is an off-ball player and Westbrook is on ball. Unless LeBron James takes another, like probably
But
another
is he a
step
proven
down,
player though? Is he a proven player,
Buddy
right?
Hill fits the team. This is all about fit,
Yeah, okay,
honestly.
it's fit, right? But fit in terms of what regular season? Has Buddy Hield played in the playoffs? No, right? So in terms of a team competing for championships, right? Playoff success, and you're talking about proven pieces, right? I get it. He's a shooter, right? But we've seen before LeBron bring in shooters, right? Even some proven shooters, right? And they just didn't live up to it, right? The moment was too big for them, or they miss a shot. So for me, I'd rather have the more proven player and work around that versus an unknown commodity, right? If Buddy Hield is the player he's supposed to be, right? Why is he not out there starring in Sacramento? Why are they not making any noise, right? The last time they made noise was the bubble or the season before the bubble, right?
It
I
was
haven't
literally
heard
in the
nothing
bubble.
since.
It was the Mad Dash where they try to do the play-in tournament, and it didn't work out. And honestly, it feels like Buddy Hill is just like it just feels like they fit better. That's literally my reasoning behind it, not because of personnel or like career-wise or how he's been performing. It just feels like he just fits better with LeBron James. LeBron James can dominate the ball more. It feels like they just have to adjust. So they have a whole season to get acclimated if LeBron James stays healthy. So I feel like their range from I'll give them 10 out of 10 so far because I feel like they fixed and like they had a problem and they went out and they fixed that problem on paper. Literally
Yeah,
everything's on paper. Because right now I
yeah.
can say, oh, the first seed. My range is kind of big. From first seed is the best scenario all the way down to playing tournament. That's how bad it is. If LeBron James healthy, first seed.
I don't see them
LeBron's not
first.
playing. Play in tournament.
I don't think LeBron's gonna play 70 games this year.
Best scenario. Best scenario.
Best
Range.
best case scenario, 70 games.
First.
I don't see
Best.
him. I don't
70
I don't see
games.
him.
Literally, it's impossible.
Yeah.
60 plus for them. Best
Okay.
scenario. First seed.
I don't
or
even see them
second.
going that high. I think probably third seed at best, 5 at worst. I don't see them falling out of the playoffs, but I see in terms of this is what happens every year, right? LeBron don't really care, especially in the West, right? Because who was the number 1 seed this year, right? The Jazz. And what did they do? Disappoint again. So like, so let's
They were talking about Conley. So I feels like being mediocrity does benefit teams when it comes to ticket sales. So I feel like they kind of had to keep him as well. And it just feels like teams like those fight for those positions because if like what happened to the Suns, you think people if like Suns had a perfect run, because keep in mind if the Utah Jazz played against the Lakers when they were like that week, they probably would have won the series. And they probably would have either lost to the Clippers or won through the finals and probably lost. It doesn't matter. It felt like Giannis, it felt like whatever team besides the Lakers and Clippers and was going to lose to the Milwaukee Bucks, I feel like no matter what team is going to lose to them. So I feel like in that scenario, like last season, if you get placed in the right position and you play against a team that's weaker than it's supposed to be, and you get lucky through injuries, you can go to the finals. And it's proven this year as well, especially from Miami Heat the other year before that. As long as you literally get at the right place, right time, healthy team chemistry, you can go to the finals. Not guaranteed a ring because the better team always wins.
Okay, but can I mention one thing though?
Yeah, go ahead.
The past 2 seasons, right, are anomalies, right? That's the word we're looking for. The first one was a bubble, and then the other one was a rushed season where people didn't have an off season. They were rushed into it. A lot of injuries came from that, right? That's what people keep pointing to the injuries, like, oh, they didn't have an off season. It was rushed. They still had to play. It was the 80 games. It was a traveling, playing. So like, I think that's the reason why we saw teams like the Miami Heat make it to the finals in the bubble, right? The bubble team. That's my team, but I could admit that that had a role to play. Some players playing without fans, without travel, that helped them. And then also just teams getting lucky, like you said, health-wise, right? If you had a regular offseason, summer league, and then had teams actually playing out. Like remember the first couple of months of the season, it was like 3 games a week almost for teams. It was just ridiculous. It was all over the place, testing, a lot of stress, a lot of things going on. And then like the fact that it was a global pandemic that has a role to play. So I feel like next season and the next season we'll go back to trends before where good teams get good seeds and good teams win. So like we really will not see a 5th seed make it to the finals.
The next time you talk about the Knicks, you don't like the Knicks. I feel like you think the Knicks.
I have nothing against the Knicks. I'm be honest, bro. Like I'm a Miami Heat fan, but other than that, I root for the Knicks, man, because they had Carmelo there. They had exciting teams, and not only that, they're in New York, bro. And New York is the mecca of basketball. And they have interesting players. There's a lot of players on that team that I like, but you gotta be realistic, bro. Knicks fans are not realistic. I'm happy for them to have something. They're in the playoffs. Got something to be excited about. But losing to Trae Young, you're a better team. Okay, I mean, that's arguable, but still though, you had the MVP candidate. Come on, you can't lose. And in disrespectful fashion, he's out here bowing.
That's for another topic. That's for another topic.
Oh my goodness.
We're gonna talk about the Knicks in later video because they had a pretty eventful offseason. Just like I feel like I'm gonna talk about later in another video. But any final thoughts so far? Anything you want to say about the Lakers offseason so far? Any doubts you have? Any sentiments you feel about certain players outperforming their contracts they signed this for their team so far, or players who got overpaid?
I feel bad for Dennis Schroeder, like bro, just missing out on that bag, like really. But I feel bad for him. That's 85 million he missed out on. But other than that, LeBron James, I was watching a highlight tape on Twitter from 2014. Oh my goodness, yeah, bro, the decline is there, bro. Father Time is undefeated, and we're starting to see that. Like I was blinded because I wasn't really like I was buying into the media hype. MVP candidate,
That's every year,
he's
though.
doing
That's
he's
every
doing
single
things
year.
he's doing things he shouldn't be doing at 36. And then you compare him to the everyday NBA player, of course he's gonna look like, oh my goodness, LeBron James. But compare LeBron James to LeBron James, and you're like, you see it. I'm starting to see it. So now I'm looking at it like, how much more years does he have? And that's sad to think about that. Yeah,
He can
he's
play
at
as
the
many years as
twilight
he
of his
wants.
career.
On his name alone, he can play into his 40s, like
But
Vince
does he
Carter
want
did.
to? Like, I'm talking
Vince
about like
Carter did.
elite. I'm talking about like competitive, right?
One more year, two max.
I think it's
Every
too.
year we say 2 years. Every year we say two more, two more, two more.
I'm gonna put my foot down. I'm gonna say this year is the last year.
I
Because
think
I was watching that highlight tape, bro. I was seeing the things that this man was doing in 2014. It doesn't even look like the same player. Like, he was dribbling up, crossing point guards, and going to the post, posting up centers, and literally hitting them with nasty post move, behind the back passes. He literally had no weaknesses in his game. And somebody said that that's the greatest player ever. Let's not even start that argument or conversation, because I don't want to have it. But I watched that and I like, yeah, LeBron, yeah, you missed a step. But I've been blind to it. But yeah, that's the only thing I gotta say.
That's about it for me, honestly. I think this year LeBron James has to like put his foot halfway off the pedal. I think this is the year where he really declines, and it's gonna show. It's like the same time what happened to Kobe last year when he had Dwight Howard. Like, people don't realize, players go through ups and downs, and LeBron James, you go through one more injury or one more bad season is over when it comes to his eliteness. So yeah, I feel like this is the final year, and this is a final push he has, and I respect him enough to give him a decent season so far, and not so far like when he begins, like a decent season. So that's my final thoughts. Is that I'll give him like a good rating this offseason. And LeBron James is really up to LeBron. It's always been LeBron. You can put a bunch of scrub players next to him. It doesn't matter. It's literally LeBron. And Anthony Davis is a great complementary player. The best big man he ever played with.
I think he proved last year that he's not that LeBron that could carry scrubs to the finals.
Yeah,
those years are behind him. And could we dead the MVP talk, bro? Like, I don't want to hear
it's
that.
Over. It's over. Year. It's over. Because Westbrook's in the team, them rebounds are gonna look mighty juicy when all three of them go for the boards. I don't think they're all gonna go for it, but that's my final thoughts. And I appreciate you guys for watching, and more videos will be coming up this week soon. So I appreciate for tuning in, and have a nice day.
Yeah, like, comment, subscribe.